What does a champion do when tragedy strikes? I'll be right back. Thomas Edison was one of the most prolific and influential inventors of all time. He changed all of our lives with inventions such as the incandescent light bulb, the phonograph, the movie camera and viewer, and the alkaline storage battery. Can you imagine what life would be like if we didn't have these daily luxuries? But what does a genius like Edison do when tragedy strikes? Well, let's find out. In December of 1914, a fire broke out at the Edison laboratories. Over $2 million in damages was done. The first tragedy was that there was only $238,000 of insurance on the labs. Why so little? Well, because the common belief back then was that buildings made out of concrete, like the Edison labs, would be fireproof. Well, people also thought that the Titanic was unsinkable. Well, now we know better on all those counts. But the biggest tragedy of all went beyond financial. All the projects and all the new inventions that he was working on went up in flames that night. All his notes, all his tinkering, all the projects, gone. When Edison's 24-year-old son Charles heard of the fire, panic struck his heart. He looked frantically for his father, hoping that he was not in the laboratories when they went up in flames. He finally found his father standing quietly, calmly, and thoughtfully watching the flames engulf his dreams. Edison looked at his son and asked if he knew where his mother was. He then said, "Bring her here. She will never see anything like this as long as she lives." The next morning, the 67-year-old Edison looked at the remains of his laboratories and said, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." So how does a champion deal with tragedy? They look forward. They look for the opportunities. They look for the good. And they thank God for fresh starts. This is Mark Bowser. Thanks for listening.